This video is going to go over what are the best settings for Modern Warfare 2's beta on PC as well as Xbox. Most of these settings can apply to both systems, so let's get straight into this. Don't forget to subscribe as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k as well, by the way, and we will be making a ton more Modern Warfare 2 content. But first of all, we're not playing on keyboard and mouse, we are playing on controller. So let's go straight to the controller settings first, and then we'll go into the kind of graphic settings straight after that as well. So first of all, input needs to be controller. Button layout's default. I do have paddles on the back of my PlayStation 4 DualShock controller. We do have the flip set off, of course, but if you do prefer to fire with R1, then you can do that. Stick layout preset is default once again. Controller vibration I have turned off. Vertical and horizontal stick sensitivity should be between 4, 5, 6 and 7 in my opinion. 4 is a bit too low, but 5, 6 and 7 is about perfect. 6 I use personally. Sensitivity multiplier, I don't have this changed at the moment for third person or vehicles. Vertical aim axis I have just set to standard. Aim down sight is hold. Automatic tactical sprint as always for the fastest possible movement. Then when it comes to equipment behavior, you want to make sure this is set to hold. Now you can put this on toggle, but what this means is if you equip a thermite, for example, you will then need to press the button once again to actually throw it. So you want to make sure it's hold, so you're holding it in and then you throw it once you let go. Then we have weapon mount activation is ADS plus melee. Interact and reload is prioritize reload, and then armor plate behavior, when we do get to the Warzone 2.0, you want apply all. Now advanced aim assist, now you do want this if you're playing controller. Keyboard and mouse, of course, you won't have it. Aim assist type is default. Aim assist response curve is dynamic or standard, both are good options. Dynamic just a bit snappier between targets. When it comes to ADS sense multiplier focus, I just have this set to standard. Then ADS timing is going to be instant. You don't want it to be slow. You want it to be as fast as possible when it comes to snappiness. And then when it says custom sensitivity per zoom, you do want to go and fine tune this. Now when it comes to up to the 3x optics, you actually want to have this set between 0.7, 0.8 or 0.9. Now 0.7 I have found works really well when I was playing on the PS5 beta earlier this week. Then we do have the kind of mid-range, so that's like 4 to 5x optics. I have to 0.8. Anything above that will be a sniper. Set to 1.1 or slightly higher than 1.1 will give you a bit more smoothness when you're trying to snipe, but also will slow down a lot more when you're trying to get those shots off. Inputs in dead zone, you definitely want to reset this down to 0.05, 0.05. Now this will depend a bit more on your controller itself. So if you do have a bit of stick drift, then you will need to put this a bit higher. But overall, 0.05 seems to be a good middle point. And then what you want to do is bump this up slightly until your stick drift disappears. Sprint / tactical sprint behavior I have set to toggle. Auto move forward is turned off just because common sense. Tactical sprint behavior I have single tap to sprint just to make sure I'm sprinting as straight as way as possible. Grounded mantle I have set off so that you need to jump twice before you actually mantle. Automatic airborne mantle off, automatic ground mantle off. Invert slide behavior is standard, so that means when you tap once it slides, if you hold it does the dolphin dive. Plunging underwater I've set to movement. I think the better option is actually plunge freely, but there's not really any water in the multiplayer, so we don't need to worry about that right now. Parachute redeploy is off. Sprinting door dash is on, so if you sprint through a door it obviously opens the door. And then the rest of the settings I have set pretty much to standard. So weapon mount movement is on, and then weapon mount exit delay is short, so you want to make sure you can get off that as quickly as possible. Vehicle behaviors, I've really just not touched these at all. Overlays, again, I've not really touched these at all. So let's get on into the graphics settings now. So display mode is full screen. Make sure your monitor is selected. Make sure your graphics card is selected. Make sure your refresh rate on your monitor is as high as possible. Make sure the resolution is set to the resolution of your monitor. Dynamic resolution I have turned off because this is going to change the actual resolution of the game in-game whilst you're playing, which is a really weird thing to even have in the game in the first place. Aspect ratio, make sure that is set to the correct one. VSync I have turned off pretty much everywhere. Custom frame rate limit I do have set to pretty much just a little bit above what the actual max FPS I can get from my monitor is. Make sure your shaders are installed. This is probably a lot of reasons why you might be getting a lot of errors in the game and getting a lot of crashing. Make sure the shaders are up to date. Brightness I have actually set to 60. Focus mode I've turned off, and that is all the settings for display. Now when it comes to quality here, this is mainly going to be a lot for PC. There is a few that will apply to Xbox. So quality presets is custom. Make sure the render resolution is 100%. DLSS, you can turn this on. Some people like to play with it on, it's a bit better graphics, all that good stuff, but personally I like maximum possible performance. Image scaling, again, I have that off. AMD FSR, I have turned that off because I don't have an AMD graphics card. I actually have an NVIDIA graphics card. Fidelity cast, again, turn that off. Even if you have PS5 or Xbox, I think this setting might be available, so make sure you turn that off as well. Anti-aliasing, filmic 2x is the best. Nearby level detail high. Texture resolution I have set to low. There's no need for it to be like super high. Filter anisotropic I have set to normal. Particle quality is low. Bullet impacts and sprays are on. Shader quality is medium. Shader optimization, again, you can go and configure that yourself. Tessellation I've turned off, sorry. On-demand texture streaming, again, turn this off. If your Wi-Fi is not good, turn this off. Streaming quality I've set to normal, just especially if you're playing on Warzone and stuff like that, you do want to see the details at a larger distance. Shadow map resolution I've turned down to low. Spot shadow quality low. It's cache sun shadows are on, so both of these are on. Particle lighting is normal. Ambient occlusion is both. SSR is high. It doesn't really matter if you change this a lot, it's still going to be the same kind of performance as you can see. Reflex low latency is on, not with boost though. Depth of field is off. Motion blur is off for pretty much everything, and film grain is turned all the way down. So this applies also to console. View now, so again, this also applies to console. So field of view, I have set to 120. I've played 120 for the whole of Warzone. Make sure it's set to affected, so your field of view takes place whilst you're actually ADS'd. Weapon field of view, I have set to default. Third person field of view I have set to max, and then the vehicle stuff I have set to standard default. Audio, quickly we'll go through this. Audio test, you can play. Audio mix I've set to headphones. I think this is probably the one I've been using the most, but I'm not really too sure which one is actually the best so far. But the one I have used is headphones, and I've tried home theater as well. But headphones seems to work the best for me. Music volume I have turned all the way down. The rest is standard, so I don't really need to show you that. So there we have it. Those are the best settings. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.